Hello, and welcome back to the Irish Tennis Updates podcast. I don't have a guest this week, so I'm doing something a little bit different. As you can see, the word updates is in the name of the podcast, so I thought I'd live up to that a little bit this week. By the way, don't worry, there are plenty more guests coming in the next few weeks, so do keep an eye out for that. But in the last few months, I have not released an episode or an edition of the newsletter that I had for the few months before lockdown hit. So I thought that I'd take this opportunity to put together a bit of a newsletter and do a recording of it. So if you haven't signed up to the newsletter before, then I guess if you like what you hear, I'll put a link to sign up to it down in the description. So if you so wish, you can sign up there, so you'll receive them every month into your inbox. So to get started, I'm going to start with some results over the last few weeks since kind of stuff got going again. So looking at Irish players abroad, Sinead Lohan was the first to return to competition. She's played 2 events in Portugal since the tour resumed. She's picked up 3 wins for 2 losses and reached the final round of qualifying in one of those events. So it's a good solid return for Sinead, and best of luck to her. Simon Carr returned last week. He played his first event, that was in Tunisia. He recorded two good tight wins to reach the quarterfinal, where he narrowly missed out. So again, a really good, promising return to competition for Simon, and hopefully he can build on that and get some good results in the weeks and months to come. I'll also like to mention Roy Keegan, who in Albania the week just gone, he picked up his first 2 main draw ITF junior wins at a J5 event in Albania. So some really good stuff from Roy to get those wins behind him, and puts him in a good position for the rest of the season. And to move then to look at home affairs, or some domestic tennis that's been going on. A few events have been taking place around the country, all COVID friendly, following the regulations. A big one took place in Sutton a few weeks ago. Over 340 entries across all the levels, from class 1 down to beginner and non-league. So really good to see so many players out and competing. A shout out to Conor Gannon and to Aisling O'Connor, who won the men's and women's championship singles events. Another event to mention is the DLR Classic, which was held in Carrickmines in early August, and it featured 16 of the top men and women in Ireland in compass draw events. And the winners of that were Peter Corrie for the men and Aisling O'Connor again for the ladies. So a good summer for Aisling. Also, just to mention Winter League, which was interrupted back in March and has had a few goes at getting going again. The DLTC managed to get 6 finals played back in August, and this is coming out on Sunday the 20th, and the rest of those finals were due to be played today, but unfortunately that is not the case. So they've been postponed again, and I guess it's hard to know when those will happen and even if they will. And it's obviously been a very long campaign at this stage, probably about 8 months. So I guess the only consolation for those who missed out in semi-finals last week is that it's really not that long until next year's event, so there's not too long to wait to have another crack at it. So within the newsletter, then I'd go on and I'd have a look at it's called Memory Lane. So I'd look at some event in Irish tennis over the last few years. So this edition, I just want to highlight James McGee's Challenger win. He won the title in Cary in the US back in 2016. And there's a good backstory to that week for James. He was scheduled to play an event in China that week, but at the last minute his visa was declined due to a G20 summit taking place in Hangzhou. So all foreign visas were not allowed. So he was unable to travel to China as scheduled. So he last minute he decided to enter the qualifying for for the event in Kerry, top seed in the qualifying. He came through qualies and all the way through. 8 wins he got, 8 wins in 8 days that week. So incredible stuff, including really good comebacks from a set down in the semi-finals and in the finals. So it really was a dream week for James back in 2016. It's always some fond memories. So next I'll look at an interesting stat. So this year 2020 is the first time that Summer League has not been played for exactly 101 years. So back in 1919 was the last time it wasn't played, and that was due to World War One. World War One is the only event that has caused Summer League to be missed since its first year back in 1902. To look at an Irish phrase of the month, the word "winter" is a nice phrase. It doesn't really have a direct translation back to English. I guess to sum it up, you look at community, but it almost more means kind of family as well. And I guess that's a good word to keep in mind as we kind of keep fighting this virus and doing our best as a community to get through it. Also, I'll throw in a phrase from Duolingo. So if you don't know Duolingo, it's a language learning app. It gives you sentences to translate and so forth. But one of the sentences I got was the pig watched the tennis match on TV. It's good to know pigs enjoy their tennis. And thanks to the return to tennis in New York this month, I also have been watching the tennis match on TV. To finish off, just a reminder to check out some of the other episodes of this, some of the interviews I've done over the last few months. I think it's up to 25 episodes now. A bit of a backlog, back catalogue you can listen through if you haven't yet. And on that, I believe that Amazon Music now offer podcasts, so that's another place you can find the episodes if that works for you. A final note then, a reminder that on the website tennispro.eu, that's tennispro.eu, which it's an online tennis store. There's really, really good value and a huge selection of products. And if you use the code TennisUpdateIORE5, you will get 5% off your order. So I'll put that code in the description below as well, in case you didn't catch it. TennisUpdateIORE5 to get 5% off your order. So as I said at the start, if you haven't signed up to the newsletter before and you liked what you heard today in terms of the structure of it, then maybe you'd consider signing up. I'll put the link to do that in the description below. Finally then, if you join me next week for a normal episode again, so I'll have guests back next week and a few more episodes coming up as well. I'm really excited about those. So please do join me for those. And thank you for listening to this episode. No guest. It's just me. So thanks for getting through it. And have a good week. And yeah, I'll see you next week.